Hey folks, how's it going? Brian Blessing in Las Vegas here in the radio studio where we do sportsbook radio weekdays, and we're looking forward to a big weekend of football. Glad to be with you as always at bangthebook.com. Always invite you to follow along on Twitter at bangthebook, and of course the sports betting podcast. Fantastic information. As we do each and every week, let's talk about some of the big line movements in college football and the rationale behind some of them. Let's start with Michigan, a 10-point favorite against Purdue. Throw this at you. Purdue is 3-0 against the spread. They lost by 7 to Louisville. Then they beat Ohio and Missouri. Don't sleep on Purdue. They're a good team. And, Michigan, life's rosy in the win column, but with what matters to us, they're 1-2 against the spread. Here's a mover with Mississippi State and Georgia. Georgia's a 6-point favorite. This number has come down to 5, as has the total, 50 down to 48.5. We talked about this game last week. Mississippi State rolled LSU. Could it be a letdown spot here for the Bulldogs? Certainly within the realm of possibility. We're looking at a total play here with Clemson and Boston College. Actually on the side, 32 was the number. Tigers, they've looked great. They are turning into a public team again. They were a public team in the game last week against Louisville. That number's up to 34. Here's one that's interesting. UMass is nothing to write home about, but Tennessee's a 26.5-point favorite up to 28. And we're going to go back-to-back games here with Florida at Kentucky, a 4-point favorite, down below the key number of 3 to 2.5. The bottom line is, won't Kentucky have an opportunity in a massive letdown spot against Florida? And might the air not be out of the balloon for Tennessee on that miracle play last week? If you're ever going to get a letdown spot, it might not be one team. It might be both teams that are impacted. One that switched favorites, Miami was a 1-point favorite against Central Michigan. Central Michigan now is 2.5 in this game. They have a 2-1 record. They were just pummeled by Syracuse last week. And it's a curious line move because Miami lost to Cincinnati just by 4. We got Washington and Colorado. Washington a 10-point favorite up to 10.5. Don't sleep on the Buffaloes at home. That could be a nice little home underdog. The Cincinnati Navy number's pretty telling here. 10.5 up to 11. The total is 49.5 up to 52.5. I think in large part the thought process here going to be hard to stop Navy's offense. And don't forget, Navy had an extra week to prepare for this football game. Bowling Green, Middle Tennessee State. Now, this is a game where I think the moves are correlated. Middle Tennessee State suggested opener was going to be in the 10.5 range. We're seeing this number now down at 7, and the total has plummeted as well from 56 down to 53 because Brent Stockstill, the quarterback, is questionable, and a really talented wide receiver, Richie Jones, is questionable. So look for those kind of opportunities. This is a correlated line move, both side and totals. Some of the high-profile games, TCU, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, I love this football team. I thought they were a sneaky play to win the BCS title, 40-1, crack the door, get into the Final Four. But that's a lot of points against a really well-coached TCU team. But it's the total that's telling. Some of the openers have been in the 67, 68 range. This number's up to 71, likely to continue rising. TCU scored 63, 28, and 56 points. Oklahoma State 59, 44, and 59. How high might that total go? Let's look at Nevada and Washington State. This is a game that went from 64.5 up to 67.5 from a total perspective, looking for points in that particular game. And then UCLA and Stanford. Stanford, a 9.5-point favorite. Betting market thinks that number is a little on the high side, coming down to 7.5. You might actually get that one down to a touchdown. Going to be an interesting week in college football. Now we dive into conference play. You get your databases and your trends, things that start to kick in, the sandwich games, the look-ahead spots, the letdown spots, teams coming off a bye like Navy this week. They'll do a great job on the sports betting podcast at bangthebook.com for you. Follow along on Twitter and keep it right here. We're going to tell you about all the line movements for you in the National Football League at bangthebook.com for Week 3, coming up in another video from Las Vegas.